Tammy Seltzer. I'm director of the DC Jail and Prison Advocacy Project at University Legal Services in Washington, D.C. The mission of the DC Jail and Prison Advocacy Project is to serve people with psychiatric disabilities who are coming home from jail and prison to help them have a successful reentry experience. There's certainly a lot more obstacles for people who have schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or intellectual disabilities when they are trying to come back to the community. Well, Clarent funding will be used by ULS to support our multidisciplinary teams of social workers, advocates, lawyers, and peer navigator to support people with psychiatric disabilities who are coming out of jail and prison. But the first thing that we do is we establish contact 4 to 6 months before people come out. That's to build a relationship with people, because we craft a reentry plan that is individualized. We also have a disability benefits specialist who helps people apply for Social Security disability benefits before they leave jail or prison. And Clarent funding helps fund for the terrific team that does this work. And now during COVID, we have additional needs. We are doing monthly a distribution of what we call Safe and Smart kits that have extra toiletries, hand sanitizer. We have masks and gloves so that people can keep safe, and we explain to them the best practices around preventing getting coronavirus. And we are also including food, like groceries, some snacks, as well as gift cards. 95% of our clients are African American, which demonstrates the overrepresentation of people of color within the criminal legal system. We work with people like David, somebody who had what they call treatment-resistant schizophrenia, which means that even though he took his medication as prescribed, it really didn't reduce any of his symptoms. He had a lot of difficulty being around a lot of people. He had difficulty remembering appointments, and he wouldn't use public transportation because it was too crowded. He had a history of trauma as a child, which is very common with our clients, and probably a lot of trauma when he was incarcerated. Our clients often end up in solitary confinement because honestly, prisons are not the right place for them to be often. So in David's case, he was arrested once on a fairly minor charge, but he continued to be in the jail or in prison because he couldn't show up on the right day to see his parole officer. His probation officer said they didn't know where he was, and so they would issue a warrant and arrest him, and he'd end up back in jail. In David's case, we were able to get accommodations made for him. David's case is such a great success story because that merry-go-round of going in and out of the jail and prison was ended after we were able to get those special accommodations for him. And he has been in the community now for 6 years, living independently, and has had no further contact with the criminal legal system, and has even got his supervision terminated early because he was doing so well. Well, Clarent funding will be used by ULS to support our multidisciplinary teams of social workers, advocates, lawyers, and peer navigator to support people with psychiatric disabilities who are coming out of jail and prison. I am always amazed at how resilient the people we work with are. Most people don't know, but 100% of the people we work with have had significant trauma in their lives. This trauma, when it's not addressed, can cause people to end up in the criminal legal system where there is yet more trauma. And we're one of the first reentry providers in DC to be focusing on people who are returning citizens, people who have been involved in the criminal legal system, who also have been victims of crime, and making sure that we address that trauma that has gone unaddressed for so long. The impact of showing people that they can address the issues that brought them to the criminal legal system, that they can trust people to work with them, and that they can get housing sometimes for the first time ever, have a safe and stable place to live. They can get a job or go to school or volunteer. That impact on the individual is significant, but in the community it's significant as well, because we often help people to reconnect with their families and friends and build social networks that they may have once had, but no longer had. They sort of died on the vine while the individual was incarcerated. And these relationships, wanting to get back to your grandchild or your children, or your 93-year-old mother who has been hoping that she'd still be alive while you were incarcerated, that adds just incredible value and heart to the community.